Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar on DigiFed. DigiFed, which is the new innovation action supported by the Horizon 2020 program to drive the digital revolution across European SMEs. So my name is Alice. I am an innovation business developer at Blue Morpho. Blue Morpho is a member of the consortium on this project, and we are going to be an innovation management partner. I am very pleased to welcome you to the first webinar of our 3-webinar series, where we will welcome in the first part Isabelle Chartier. So hello, Isabelle. Isabelle, hello.
Hello, so I'm from CA and the coordinator of this project.
Yeah, so Isabelle will try to explain everything on the project in a quite short period of time. So she'll try to tell you in 10 minutes everything about the technicalities and DigiFed's mission to digitize SMEs across Europe. In the second part, we will welcome Isabelle Dor. So hello, Isabelle.
Hello, everybody. So I'm also in CA working together with Isabelle Chartier.
So yeah, Isabelle's role will be to explain how the application process works and the conditions to apply to get a grant from the European Commission. So as they said, Isabelle Chartier and Isabelle Dor work for the CEA in France. The CEA is another of the 12 members of the consortium, and it coordinates the project with the support of the company Zabala. This is why today we also have with us Maria Laura Trifiletti from Zabala. So hello, Maria Laura.
Hello everyone. Thank you very much for this invitation.
So before we start, as I mentioned, this is the first webinar of a series of 3 webinars. We will have 2 more webinars next Tuesday and the week after that, so the 17th and the 24th of March, where we will present the technical offer of DigiFed. You should now be able to see the links to register to these webinars in the chat box. I would really advise you to do so, to register, so you can grasp the whole idea of the project. Again, before we start, I would also like to inform you that this webinar is animated today by Blue Morpho, and that the slides and the recording of this webinar will be made available for you on the DigiFed website. Also, there is a question box in the webinar toolbox on the site, so please feel free to enter all your questions as we are going through with this webinar. We will address them to our speakers during the Q&A session at the very end of this webinar. So before we start with Isabelle Chartier and the description of the project, we wanted to get to know a bit more about the audience. So this is why you will now see popping up on your screen a question where you can choose the option that fits your company the most. So yeah, so what type of organization do you work for? Do you work for a large company, a mid-cap, an SME, a startup, or an association, cluster, or RTO? I'll give you a few more seconds to answer this question. Okay, so I will now close the poll. Thank you very much for your answers. Okay. Thank you very much. I have another question for you. I'm now going to ask you another question related to this project. So, have you already taken part?
We don't hear you, Alice.
European project. So, have you taken part in a project on the SAE or I4MS initiative, or did you take part? Yeah. Yes. Can you hear me?
Not very well.
Have you taken part on a project on the... Oh, really? So, well, I see that the questions are still getting answered. All right, so thank you very much for your answers. I will now close the poll. Yeah. And I will give the floor to Isabelle Chartier. Isabelle, can you please tell us a bit more on the DigiFed project, how it's going to support Europe's industry and its digitization? Over to you, Isabelle.
Hello, so I'm really pleased to be the coordinator of this DigiFed project. Okay, I got the slide set. Alice, maybe I cannot move the slide. Yes. So, first of all, I want to show you that our project DigiFed is part of a long history that was launched by the European Digital Commission, the DigiConnect, and really the context is digitizing Europe strategy. This activity or initiative, which is called Smart Anything Everywhere, was started in 2015, and we are the third batch of project really helping SMEs to integrate digital technology in their product. And you got a link on this presentation. So what is DigiFed? We are in this story of helping SMEs and European industry to integrate digital and cyber physical system in their new products and service. We are 12 partners coming from 9 European countries, and we are research and technology organization, RTOs, universities, but also industry and digital innovation hubs, and I will explain you later what is a digital innovation hub. But you have here the repartition and the list of people. The project started January this year and is a 3-year project ending December 22. The global project is 8 million, and on which 4 million or almost 4 million will be directly supporting SMEs. So we will, using this cascade funding tool from the Commission, we will subvention 3.9 million directly to SMEs and mid-caps. The DigiFed strategy, linked to the European Commission strategy, is to build a network of cross-border digital innovation hubs. And the goal of this DIH is to animate an ecosystem around all the stakeholders useful to develop digital product or cyber physical product. So we want to help SMEs, mid-cap or large enterprise based on the innovation of universities and research and technology organization, but also supported by the public bodies who are helping by subventioning the technology. So here, a bit more what is a digital innovation hub. It's globally in a region, it's the unique entry point, or we call it also one-stop shop, to access for an industry to technology infrastructure. So people, incubators, research organization, but also other companies, but also to business expertise and financing support to cover also not only the technical risk, but the business and financial risk of going into such innovation in the digital route. So we will, this DIH will foster regional cooperation between all these stakeholders, but also will network with other service provider outside of one region. And really the idea is whatever you are in, a company is in Europe, they will have access to this network of supporting persons to help the digitalization of their products. What is specific to DigiFed, and I want to emphasize on one DigiFed offer, which is not the whole project, but the one we want to emphasize today, is the small project, which we call application experiments, that we subvention SMEs to make a prototype globally. So this is an application experiment, offers you 55 euro funding to develop a service or product prototype. It offers you also technical expertise from all the partners, the technical partners of DigiFed. And it offers you also innovation management expertise from the Blue Morpho or the digital innovation hubs. Who do we target? Who do we address this project? Non-digital SMEs or startups or mid-cap who wants to create a first product demonstrator and don't know how to handle it. So we can help them to define and demonstrate this first proof of concept. But it addresses also companies that have already integrated digital technology who wants to mature their product or integrate new, for example, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity topics, increase the digital maturity. Just to give you an example, what are the technical expertise we do propose in our consortium? You have it here, the list, but mostly this list is available on DigiFed website. So you will see CAs bringing mainly cybersecurity of hardware system. Ikelan is also deeply involved in cybersecurity, but also in communication. And you got industrial like STO AVL bringing some mature products that could be integrated in your demonstrator. You will have all of this on the DigiFed website. The same, what kind of innovation management expertise do we bring? So you got all the partners, it will be described on the website, but digital innovation hubs like Digital Catapult, Minalogic, or Steinbeich can help you in business analysis, on cost analysis, on value chain building. All these kind of things can be supported. Blue Morpho can really help how to give a support for the go-to-market strategy or the alliance with other stakeholders. Everything is described on the website. Now I want to go a bit deeper on what kind of project we found. So an application, we have two types of application experiments. One, we call it single application experiment. We already test this kind of project in a previous project like Fed for SIE or CPSC Lab. Globally, it's one company who has an idea of innovation, a clear vision of the market of this innovation, but need technical support to validate this concept. We ask one of the digital technical partner the technical expertise. So you take contact with one of the technical partner of DigiFed and see with this partner if he can help you to build this. And a digital innovation management partner will be attributed to your project to help you on the business analysis. What is new in DigiFed is we also propose to finance what we call twin application experiments, where two companies come together with an idea and innovation, again, a clear market vision, but with the need of complementary technical expertise, which is bring not by DigiFed partner, but by another SME. So you have two companies in a value chain that want to make a prototype together, and DigiFed will mostly help you in the business analysis and analysis of the go-to-market of your product. Each company can be supported to a maximum of 55 euro for one project. So it can be 110 for a twin. Just some example, maybe it's a bit not clear. What kind of prototype can we say? Here you have prototype from a previous project, which is still running, Fed for SIE. You got the link here. If you want to go and see what are these demonstrators, it can really help you to understand. So, for example, we make some real-time a prototype for real-time scanning of accessibility cities. What I want to show you here is the broad area we can touch. It can be on any subject until you use cyber, physical, or digital technology. Please go on this website, you will see. So maybe I hope I was clear, and I hope it will raise lots of questions for you. Now I will let Alice ask you a few questions and introduce the second part of the talk.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Isabelle, for your presentation. I will first let Isabelle Dor, because I understand there are some conditions to be part of DigiFed. So I think Isabelle is going to introduce the conditions, and then I'll ask the questions to the audience. So Isabelle, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Alice. So this is a slide where a kind of visual of the application experiment. So we start from the left with the call, the Bootcamp, the evaluation, and then following the evaluation, then you will have the implementation and all the outcomes. We will focus today on the call, the Bootcamp, and give a clue about some keys about the evaluation. So open calls DigiFed, the target is for projects to be funded. And for that, we will launch 3 open calls. The first one is just open next week, and then there will be another one in September and the last one in March. Every call is going to be open for 3 months, 12 weeks. And as you will see, you will have all information on the website. Yeah, just to be clear that we are looking for 40 projects to be funded, at least. So as it was already mentioned by Isabelle, for this open call, we are looking for both single and twin application experiments, and all the information will be available on the website at the link you have. Just saying that we are still working on the website, so it's going to be populated every day until the 17th of March. So don't be scared if you click somewhere and it's still kind of said working part. So this is a rough view of DigiFed open call timeline. The things which is important to remember is that it will be open next week on the 17th of March. It will be open for 3 months, and kind of insist that the closure will be at 5 p.m. Brussels time. So any proposal arriving after will not be accepted. Then we have a period for the proposal evaluation, which is around 7 weeks, and around this period, there will be we send the selected results to the EC that validate our choice, and the notification will be made to all participants the very first day of August, the 4th and the 5th. I would like to say that all participants will be notified, and then after that, the next step is to work on the standard agreement, to sign it, and to launch the application experiment kickoff somewhere in September. So how to submit a proposal? So this will be done online on DigiFed website. There's one step to register on the website with a very few questions asked, and then there will be the proposal submissions. The proposal submission will be done in 2 documents. There will be one PDF document, somewhere around 10 pages, written in English, which is more oriented to describe technically what is expected and what are the contents of the project. And then there will be the second document is a recorded pitch, which will be of around 5 minutes, once again in English, and it's more business oriented. And for both documents, the proposal and the recorded pitch, you will have support, which is a proposal template, slide deck template that will be available on the website. But all together, we do organize, I would say, events like the online webinars today and the two which are going to follow, and bootcamps that are going to be organized locally by our regional digital innovation hub. Here you have a first date. Of course, all this will be made available on the website as soon as we know it, and information will be relayed by the Digital Innovation Center. For instance, in Grenoble, it will be Lyon, in Minalogic in France, London by Digital Catapult in UK, and so on and so forth. So here you have the list. So now a few hints about the two documents. So for the proposal description, so as we said, it's a PDF document, around 10-12 pages, written in English, and here you have the different sessions of the document. I will not go more into details because all of this is fully explained in the guide for applicants, which will be available online. I would just to highlight that, as it is mentioned here, excellence, impact, quality, these are evaluation criteria we will use to evaluate the proposal, which are consistent with what was done by the European Commission. But once again, in the guide for applicants, you will find more details about what is expected behind each section and what we will use for the evaluation. For the recorded pitch, so it's more oriented business quality. So once again, here you have a few details about what is expected. And so because this will be used to evaluate the business quality, the innovation management of the project, you will have more detail in the guide for applicants, and the information, the insight about this, what is expected in the recorded pitch, will be much more detailed in the bootcamp, and I think there will be a dedicated webinar, and we will still have information online. Well, that means quite a lot, but then I want to emphasize that we will provide support to all applicants, of course, through the website, where you will have the open call description, you will have the description of the DigiFed offer. We will have a frequently asked questions sections that we are going to populate, and this will be a lively section that we will every day. I mean, every time we get new question, then we will provide it we will provide it to everybody on this section. There will be the proposal template. You will have recorded pitch guidelines, the guide for applicants, where it's really a detail, the timing, the eligibility criteria, the proposal insight, the evaluation criteria. We provide a checkup list just to make sure that you've go through every step. Well, to have more chance to be selected. There will be bootcamp organized regionally by DigiFed DIH partner. We have webinar, open calls, and business case preparation. Of course, you are much more than encouraged to contact DigiFed partners, technical contact with the contact name on the website, and there will be an help desk that is going to be open very, very soon, where you can send your questions, and we will make sure that everybody is getting an answer. And I would say that to contact us is the best support we can bring to applicants, because to discuss with you, to try to make it clearer, from our past experience, it's the best way to increase your chance to have a good proposal. So now it's just some few insights about the eligibility criteria. Some of them might look very basic, but well, I think they need to be reminded. First, to submit on time. With all the proposal written in English, the recorded pitch in English, and as I said, the 5 p.m. on the last. Just not maybe too much emphasized, but we are looking for cross-border proposal. So that means that your company is not going to work with a DigiFed partner from the same country. It has to be from another European country. And for a twin application experiment, the two SMEs should be from 2 different countries. It's a challenge, but it's the added value of the European support. About what we mean by different European country or sub-countries, once again, you have a link just below, and this is more detailed in the guide for applicants. We are looking for company, as Isabel mentioned, company from, we are looking for startup, SMEs, mid-cap. Well, you have to accept to see the standard contract that will be to support your application experiment. You have to be based in European member state country, but all this is fully detailed in the guide for applicants and in the open call section. Also about the company definition, what do we call an SME or a mid-cap? We refer to an official document from the EC, and once again, this will be recorded in all our documents. Last, the financial support to third party, also called cascade funding. So I use the two wording because the EC use both of them. So it will represent 70% of the budget that you will declare for your application experiment. The maximum grant that can be received by a company is 55 kilo euros. And if you are working in multiple DigiFed projects, the maximum will be 100 kilo euros. And the last constraint is that if you have already been involved in some H2020 Smart Anything Everywhere project or I4MS project, initiative project, and that you receive the cascade funding, the maximum is 100 kilo euros for one company. And this is something that really the EC is looking at. Once again, all this will be recorded in the guide for applicants. Then just a few words about the proposal evaluation and selection. So there we define eligibility criteria that are defined in the guide for applicants. We have an evaluation which is a technical one through independent experts, a business evaluation through the recorded pitch, and we have a DigiFed evaluation committee that finalized the selection and the granted process. So the evaluation criteria, as I shortly mentioned, are on excellence, quality, impact for the technical part and a business case evaluation. As we said, we have a ranking, and the selection will be dependent on the ranking and, of course, on the budget we have at our disposal. It has to be validated by the EC. And as I mentioned previously, the notification will be sent to all applicants and with cost scoring and comments. So this is a full view of your application. And then, I don't know, maybe Alice, if you want to conclude on the upcoming important dates, shall I do it?
No, don't worry. Thank you, Isabelle, for this presentation. So it allowed us to understand a bit more on the application process and requirements. So as I mentioned before, we will have the Q&A session in a few minutes. So don't hesitate to send your questions in the question box. I see some of you have already done it. Before we get to that, I had a few more questions for the audience. So first of all, Isabelle Chartier and Isabelle Dor have presented you the project and the process to apply to the first call that will open in a few days. So it will open on the 17th of March, as you know it. Do you think, so I'll send the question, you should see it's popping up on your screen, but do you think your company would be interested in applying on call one? I'll give you a few seconds to answer this question. All right, I'll close this poll now, and I will send you another question. The next question will be organized in two parts. So the next question will be, would you want to take part in our multi-day session are called bootcamps? So would you want to take part in our bootcamps? We are going to host 5 bootcamps in our 5 partners location in France, in Spain, in the UK, in Hungary, and in Slovenia. As I said, this question is in 2 parts because we are quite limited in the options for the question. So the second part will be Hungary and Slovenia. So if you wish to take part in those, don't hesitate to put none of the above, and you can choose Hungary or Slovenia later. Right, I will give you a few more seconds to answer the question. And I'll close the poll in 3, 2, 1. All right, so now I will send you the second part of the question. So same principle, you should see it now. If you wish to take part in the bootcamps, so the multi-days training session in Slovenia or Hungary, please select it now. All right, so now I'll close this poll. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation in this. As you can see on the screen, you can see the upcoming important dates. So as I mentioned before, this is part of a 3 webinars series. The next webinar will be next week on the 17th of March, will be the first part of the technical offer at 1 p.m. exactly as this webinar. And then the last webinar of the series will be on the 24th of March at 1 p.m. as well. You can see all the other dates. So the launch of the first open call will be on the 17th of March. It will end on the 9th of June, as Isabel said before, at 5 p.m. So this is the application deadline. And during this period of time, you can take part of the bootcamp. And 2 of the bootcamps have already decided on the date. So you can have Ljubljana on the 22nd of April or Lyon in France on the 5th of May. We will now start the Q&A session. So I will ask the question directly to our internet. So we first have a question from, so the question will be, is DigiFed only for the countries on the first speed, which means on the West Europe? I think this is a question for Isabelle Dor.
So no, DigiFed is open to all SMEs coming from EU member state countries and associated. So we will have the list available on the website. I would say in the it's one of the first frequently asked questions. So it's one of the first questions, and also this will be available in the guide for template. But so it's all over Europe plus associated country, like for instance. Serbia, Tunisia, and Israel is part of these EU associated countries.
Okay, thank you, Isabelle. Next question is, one would like to know if the documents are already available, the guidelines and similar. So I think it's still for you, Isabelle.
Yes, no, we are still working on the documents. They will be available for sure on March 17th. We hope to be able to upload them maybe 1 or 2 days before, but we are still working on them. But they will be available on March 17th.
Okay, thank you, Isabelle. Next question is, what are the eligible costs for the 55 euros, and who is getting the money, the applicant or DigiFed Competence Center? Isabelle?
So the costs that are eligible are all kind of, our eligible cost, once again, we provide, so it's all dealing with personal cost. If you have some specific cost for traveling, because you plan that you are going to visit, for instance, if you are working with 2 SMEs, not in the same country, and you plan to meet maybe 2 times face-to-face, so your travel costs are eligible cost. So these kind of costs are all eligible. And yes, and then your second question was, sorry. So this cascade funding will be transferred to the SME directly under conditions with a work plan and milestones and things. And so payment deployment will be 50% of the cascade funding will be transferred when the standard contract is fully signed by all partners involved in that small project, and then the rest, so the 50% left, will be transferred at the closure of the project, reaching the final milestones, and everybody agreed that the project is closed.
Okay, next question. Thank you, Isabelle. I think we already answered it before, but the question is, are countries eligible for Horizon 2020? Non-EU can apply.
I think yes. I think it's yes. What it's the same country as the one which are eligible through around Horizon 2020. So it's member states and the associated countries. So as I said, of course, Sweden, Norway, Denmark are involved, but also Israel, Tunisia, Serbia, and so there's a whole list, and we will make this available on the website to everybody share the same information.
And maybe what is very important to name is we are supporting cross-border applications. So we need, if an SME for any country want to work with a DigiFed partner in a single application experiment, it has to be a DigiFed partner from another country. If an Italian company want to work, it cannot work with ST in Italy. It has to work, it has to need the technology from a cross-border digital DigiFed partner. And the same for twins application experiment. The two companies need to be from different European countries. And the reason of that is not to be tricky. The real reason is because globally, when you want to work in the same country, you already have subvention from your regional or national authorities. So Europe wants to help when there is no money to fund that. If you're an SME from France working to work with an SME in Serbia, neither France or Serbia is going to support you. So your EC wants to help when it's not subvention already.
Okay. Thank you, both of you, for your answers. Now we have a question is, can SMEs subcontract part of their budget to a technology provider?
Part of it.
Yeah, a very part of it. What we used to do for other projects is to limit this subcontracting around 15% of the grant. Once again, it's because, well, we don't want to, I mean, what we want is really to give money to the S and to transfer money to the SME to also increase our skills and our competencies, not to use it to go and pay somebody on the side. So there's a small amount because sometimes you need something to be done outside your company because it's totally outside your competencies, but we want to limit that. Once again, it's clearly written in the guide for applicants, and it will be also recalled in the proposal template where we ask for a sketch of the budget, and this is recalled. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we had another question regarding the participation in the bootcamps. Is it mandatory, and what is the aim?
Now, it will not be mandatory, of course, and we will make available online the needed information. But what we want to offer you during the bootcamp is to have some exchange with our technical experts. So maybe you can more easily describe how the collaboration will occur between the DigiFed technical partner and your company, so it can really help. And we will also support you in building the business model and the pitch. But of course, it's not mandatory, especially with difficulty in traveling, which can occur this month. It will not be mandatory, but the idea is there will be bootcamp in main regions, so you can normally, we will hope that you will have a bootcamp not far from your country or not far from your place.
Yes, once again, our experience tells us that when the SME, the applicant, is meeting partners from the consortium to discuss, it's a great help. So bootcamp is one way to do it. Well, I would say if you can't do it because you can't join the bootcamp, we just repeat myself, just do not hesitate to contact us, to have contact, because it's one of our objectives is also to support you to build your proposal for it to be the best as possible and to discuss with you. So bootcamp is one opportunity, but well, there are others, and it's something we really want to emphasize. Ask for our support.
Okay, thank you very much. There is another question saying, we did a first project that was previously funded in Horizon 2020 program. We would like to apply for an extension with clear demonstration that this is new work. Would this be eligible?
What kind of project was it? Was it one of the Smart Anything Everywhere, or was it another? It depends. The subvention is limited to 100 kilo per SME, but only if it's in this. Can you put the slides? Yes, can you put back the slide, Alice?
And it's only if it is, and if it is on, and this is, yeah, this is limited for this cascade funding, but it's only the cascade funding that is limited. So as long as you didn't reach the 100 kilo euros as maximum, you can still apply for. If not by chance, but if you did receive some other kind of support, but not cascade funding, there is no issue about it.
No, Alice, give me the floor. I will find the.
Yeah.
So if it's new, I mean, if it's new work, it was a constraint that has been imposed by the EC. The objective of this constraint, I don't know how we can call it that way, is that a maximum of SME can benefit from it, and not only the SME that are used to work with the EC. So they want a little bit not to have it too much focused on always the same SME. So this is the constraint of the 100 kilo euros financial support or cascade funding brought to SMEs under the Smart Anything Everywhere and I4MS Edge 2020 initiative.
But if the company has been in another kind of Edge 2020 project and now wants to valorize this result in a prototype, this can be totally fitted to what we want to do. Go to a prototype and go further on the market.
Maybe what we can do is, if this is a case-by-case scenario, maybe we can have a proper individual discussion about it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I have another question about intellectual property. So it says just, what about intellectual property? Maybe Isabelle, you want to answer that?
Yes, so this is why we have the standard agreement. So we want to make it the simplest possible, and we don't want to have long negotiation phase because the projects are going to be something between 9 months and 12 months. So we really want to launch it fast. The rules we propose will be described in this standard agreement. If you want to have an idea of it, you can go on Fed4SAE project website, because we get inspired from this previous experience. So if you want to have an idea, because it's not yet ready for us, but if you go on this slide, fed4sae.eu, you will see an idea of the template we are going to use. But roughly, the idea is everybody will stay proprietary of his IP, of the generated IP. And if we create, we have two options. If there is some joint IP, then we propose two options. You will see on it. One is each party can use it with fair and reasonable contribution, or one which is more open, well, each party can use it without telling to the other. But globally, each partner is keeping his own IP. And the idea, if you use the IP of a DigiFed partner, so if you work with a CA or a Digital Catapult, which has already some IP and that you need to use it, then after the project, there will be some financing rule together if you want to exploit something coming by a DigiFed partner. I hope it answers, and if not, again, you can continue the question or call us during the preparation.
Yeah. Okay. We have another question. Will countries from the UK be allowed to participate?
Good question. I hope that Digital Catapult will help us to answer. We have a Digital Catapult, which is a digital innovation hub from UK, partner of the project. So I don't want to answer without knowing. So really, it's a very good question, and we need to, for sure, I hope yes. Definitely, I hope yes. And then I'm sure that Digital Catapult, which is the hub in UK, will be responsible to find the good answer to that.
Yes, but well, that's very good reminder. Thank you, because we need to point out that point specifically in our guidelines and in our FAQ. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another question. Research institutions like faculties are not eligible for this call to apply, right?
Research institution, no, it's SMEs or mid-caps, it's companies. It's a cascade funding process, which are targeting, it can be non-profit, I think, but it has to be a company or maybe an association. We have to check for the association.
Thank you. Next question, will DigiFed provide support in matching SMEs in preparation for the Twin AE?
Yes, and this is really the goal and the responsibility of the digital innovation partner. So globally, you will see what we call this DIH. So Minalogic in France. If you are looking for an SME in France, Blue Morpho and Minalogic will be your good contact. In Germany, around this area, it will be Steinbest. In UK, is Digital Catapult. And there will really be helping. The bootcamp will also be place for matchmaking between SMEs. But again, the digital innovation hubs will be helping for the matchmaking. We propose, and I don't know if it's done already, to add a partner matching area on the website.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. Next question is, what is the typical duration of the project?
Typical is between 9 months and 12 months. Occasionally, it can be a bit longer, but the experience we have from previous projects, most of the projects are between 9 and 12 months at the proposal, while sometimes at the end, the last, we are not so strict, so it can, if there is some risk analysis during the project, it can be continued for 3 months. So some projects have lasted 15 months.
Yeah.
But most of the proposal, we're targeting 12 months.
Okay, thank you. Another question is related to the bootcamp. So, will the competence be different at the different bootcamps?
Yes, most probably. We will try to have someone able to represent or to answer to most of the competence, but as the competence are organized in a country, I take my example because I know it well, of course, CA will be really a lot present in the French one with our cybersecurity technology. But we will try to have some representative from the other technology to represent their technology and be able to answer also to the other technology. I'm not sure we will be able to have everybody, especially in this period.
If I can complete this answer, we will prepare a catalog of all the technologies, and all the technologies will be presented at every bootcamp, even if there is no representative of the technologies. So the competence might be a little different, but everything will be covered in every bootcamp. All right. We also had a question, was maybe there is an option to have a bootcamp online. This is going to be very similar to the webinars in a way. But if there is something coming up which is more similar to a bootcamp, online that would be available on the website as well. And I think this is it. Yeah. So thank you very much for your participation in this webinar. I would like to thank you properly, Isabelle Chartier and Isabelle Dor, for your intervention. This was very interesting webinar. Please don't forget our 2 other webinars coming on the 17th and 24th of March that will describe the technical offer. As I said, I really advise you to register so that you can grasp the full idea of the project. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.